everybody, welcome to Top 10 Thursday on the Mana League. I'm John, as always, and I'm back. I have not done this for a few weeks. It turns out it's a little bit hard to fit a recording schedule for a new series into an already existing recording schedule. Who knew? But I'm hoping to get this back out every single week so that you guys can get some top 10 lists. But today's top 10 list is going to be the top 10 cards that I want to see reprinted in Shadows over Innistrad block. We're going to skip ahead. We're going to not talk about Oath of the Gatewatch just yet. We're going to talk about Shadows over Innistrad. Now, this list might be controversial, as might next week's list, the top 10 cards I don't want to see reprinted in Shadows over Innistrad. And it might be controversial because I don't tend to go for the value reprints. I don't tend to say, I want this card because I don't have enough of them, and I want to get a lot of money. I tend to care about design, game design, good game design. I tend to care about good draft sets that are fun to draft, sets that I enjoy drafting, because, of course, I am a draft channel. So I don't tend to say, oh, this broken card that's worth $100, I want it reprinted because I want $100. Be aware of that. This list might be controversial. But starting right off at number 10, we've got Prey Upon. Prey Upon was the original fight spell. Fight did not exist as a mechanic, or at least a named mechanic, until Prey Upon in Innistrad. It is a single green mana to fight target creature you control against other creature. It's as basic as it can get. There's no pumping, there's no instant speed, it's sorcery speed. Nothing fancy going on like that at all. And I kind of want people to see that. I want people to see the history of fight because, of course, Unnatural Aggression came along and people were kind of down on it because they said, oh, it doesn't pump. It doesn't give you +1/+2 or +2/+2. It doesn't have to. Green doesn't get removal. Green gets this, and this is enough. This should make people pretty happy. It's a single green mana. I'd be happy to see it again. I think removal on this level is a hallmark of a really well-designed set. It's not overbearingly powerful removal, but it's also not bad removal. It's not 7 mana still somehow conditional removal. It's really cheap. You have to do a tiny little bit of setup, but I still like it. So number 10, Prey Upon. Number 10 is a weird one, a card you may not have even heard of because it never did anything. Wild Defiance. Wild Defiance is a card that I would love to see back around because it was a card that I wanted to see get kind of broken in Constructed. It never quite got there. I had some ideas personally. So basically, whenever a creature you control becomes the target of an instant or sorcery spell, it gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Now, there's a minor effect where this sort of gives you insurance against burn. They can't Lightning Bolt your 3/3 because now it becomes a 6/6 before the Lightning Bolt resolves. But you can do cool things like Giant Growth it, and it's +6/+6 instead of +3/+3. There were some things that I tried out. Feelings of Dread was a flashback spell that let you tap 2 creatures. So you could attack with 2 creatures, and it was instant speed, so you could tap them, and it didn't matter because they had already attacked. And then you could flash it back right away, so you could give +6/+6 to 2 creatures for 4 mana. Didn't really work out. The deck never really came together, but I would love to see this card given a second chance, another chance to be broken, another chance to be a really, really good card. I'd love to see just disgusting broken things happen with this card because it seems so unassuming. But that 2 and a green is really cheap. It's really begging to be broken, and I'd love to see it reprinted just for that sake. That being said, it's not a flashy card. It doesn't really fit flavor-wise into anything, so I don't super see this coming around again, but I'd love it too. Number 8, we have Angel of Glory's Rise. Now, I have a special place in my heart for this card because it helped me win, or not win, sorry, I got second place. I wish I'd won a Grand Prix trial, a pretty large Grand Prix trial at that. I had an Infinite Wolf, 2/2 Wolf / Infinite Life combo with this and Fiend Hunter and the Aristocrat and Huntmaster of the Fells and some other things. Basically, I could infinitely recur all of my humans. I want to do that again. I don't think we're going to get to do that again, though, because they have fixed the Fiend Hunter / Oblivion Ring clause so that it works now the way they want it to. And Angel of Glory's Rise would not work anymore because of that. But you could still do some fun things with this card, and I'd love to see this card back just because it has a kind of special spot in my heart for it. So Angel of Glory's Rise, number 8. I'd like to see it again. I don't know if we will. Next up, at number 7, we have Abyssinian Pilgrim. This is a pure draft card. It does see some constructed play if there ever is a green-white deck kicking around, but it's a mana dork. It's it's a super awesome card that you're going to draft a ton of if green-white is a supported archetype, because, hey, 1 mana for a 1/1 that makes a mana, totally fine. You know, we've had to deal with things like Lifespring Druid and Golden Hind. We've had to deal with kind of worse versions of this card. They were more powerful. They were 2/1s, but a 2/1 may as well be a 1/1 most of the time. You want it for the mana dork abilities. And I would love to see Abyssinian Pilgrim come back just because it's a solid draft card. It's kind of one of those linchpins of a good draft set, these utility creatures. So I would love to see it back for that reason. At number 6, we have Abyssinian Priest, the other of the Abyssinian blank little dudes. Abyssinian Priest is about as cheap as you can get for a tapper without it just saying tap to tap a target creature. This you have to pay 1 and tap it, and it does only tap non-human creatures, but that didn't really come up very often. Humans are only spread across generally a couple of colors. Sometimes there's some bleed into the red, blue, and black, but not too much. And especially in Innistrad, where there's that gothic horror kind of atmosphere going around, so they really like to use those other 3 colors for the zombies and the vampires and the demons and the devils and etc. So if you're playing white, a lot of the humans are already taken out of the equation that you might possibly face. So this isn't really that bad of a restriction most of the time. And being able to pay 1 colorless mana and tap generally whatever you want is really powerful and really good. The fact that it's a 1/2 is just even slightly better because it avoids, boiling earth type, 1 damage to everything spells or can't think of it. The 1 mana flashback spell from Innistrad. That's not on my list, actually. It avoids some removal, and it could block X1s profitably, but most often this is just a really good tapper, and I would love to see it back for that case. At number 5, we have Doomed Traveler. Doomed Traveler is another super value-filled card. It's a 1/1 for 1. We don't usually want to play those, but it's a 1/1 for 1 that replaces itself with a 1/1 flyer, which is really good. So Doomed Traveler tends to get in for 1, 2, 3, 4 damage sometimes before they finally, get rid of it, and you get yourself a Spirit, which then gets in for 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. There's 8 damage potentially we're talking about right there. What often happens is you will attack with your Doomed Traveler, and they will say, "Oh, I don't want you to have a flyer. I have a 2/2. I could block your 1/1, but I'm not gonna because I don't want you to have a flyer because that would be even worse." And so they'll let that 1 damage through, and they'll let it through, and they'll let it through. And then finally you stop attacking and you say, "Hey, if you attack, I'm going to get a flyer." It's a really good card. Doomed Traveler was fantastic. People have seen it in, I believe it was in Modern Masters, or was it in Conspiracy? Or was it in both? Maybe it was in both. I don't recall. It was definitely in Conspiracy. But it's a really solid card, and just for the health and the goodness of the draft format, I would love to see a card like this, or just simply this, back again. Next up at number 4, we have Midnight Haunting. What's better than 1 spirit token, 2 spirit tokens at instant speed? Midnight Haunting is a really good card. 2 and a white for an instant speed to get 2 spirit tokens is really good. End of their turn, 2 spirit tokens, you're going to start bashing in for 2, 4, 6, 8 damage. You can surprise block if you need to. You get a 2/2 flying blocker, basically. Just a super, super, super solid good card. Maybe a bit too efficient. That's my biggest concern about some of these cards that I want to see come back, is that they are really efficient cards. And as we've seen lately, they tend to avoid efficiency nowadays. They don't want Doomblades. They don't want things like that. So the question is, do they want Midnight Haunting back? Is it too efficient? Is it too powerful? We'll have to see, but I would love it back. Absolutely love it to be back. Next up, we have another really efficient card, and that is Bonds of Faith. 1 and a white to basically pacifism a creature if it's not a human. If it's a human, which it may very well be in your white blank deck, hopefully white-green, then it can get +2/+2. So this is a removal spell that can also be a buff if you want it to be. And just that versatility is amazing. The 1 and a white for the pacifism effect is just fantastic. That's super, super, super efficient. Again, perhaps too efficient. We haven't seen pacifism in a while. I don't know if we'll see it back. 1 and a white to turn off a creature is really, really, really good. 1 and a white to turn off a creature that's not a human, or do something to your own humans, is really good. Because of that, I don't know if we'll see it again. I would love to see it again, though, because I love this card, and I used to draft this card super highly and play it just constantly. Bonds of Faith, number 3. I'd love to see it back. Number 2, we have Mistraven. This is one of Marshall Sutcliffe's favorite cards, and very good reasons for that. It's super powerful. People really undervalue bounce creatures, and I don't know why they still do, but every set, people will look at a creature and say, oh, it's a 2/2, and it costs 4? That's bad, and it only bounces a creature for just 1 turn? That is so good. That is so good. Most of you watching know how good that is. Most of you know how good tempo is. Bouncing a creature for a turn can just ruin a person's game. And the fact that you get a 2/2 flyer left behind is really, really, really solid. Again, I worry if this is a bit too efficient. We've seen things like Void Wielder and Separatist Void Mage, which have definitely been lower quality than Mistraven. So will we get Mistraven back? I'm not sure. Maybe at Uncommon I could see it come back, but I would love to see it come back in some way, shape, or form. Finally, at number 1, I'm not immune to wanting high-value, splashy, awesome cards. It's Liliana of the Veil. I would love to see Liliana of the Veil back, and not because she's expensive, not because she's sometimes been around $100, not because she's super important in Modern. I want her back because I think she's a really, really well-designed Planeswalker. She's maybe 1 colorless mana too cheap. She maybe should be 2 black, but other than that, I think she's fantastically designed. I think she's just super solid. I think Ob Nixilis is almost kind of like a fixed version of her, which I think kind of is one of the reasons that I don't think we'll ever see this card reprinted again in a live Magic set. The other reason, of course, is that I think with Planeswalkers being the major story focus now, I think we're always going to see new Planeswalkers every single set. I don't think they're going to reprint a prior version of a Planeswalker just for flavor reasons. You know, Liliana the Veil is Liliana at a way different point in time than the Liliana that we're going to see in Shadows over Innistrad. And we're going to see her. There's going to be a Liliana card, but I don't think it's going to be Liliana the Veil. Boy, would I love it to be, though. I would so love it to be. So that's going to wrap it up for the top 10 cards that I want to see reprinted in Shadows over Innistrad. Definitely let me know what you would like to see. As I said, this is kind of a draft-focused set, and I don't tend to fall into the, I'm missing my 4th Snapcaster, so I want Snapcaster to be reprinted. That's a very greedy, very selfish reason for a card to be reprinted. I want to see cards reprinted in, as I said, live Magic sets that make a really good draft set, that are there for a reason, that make sense, that are there more than to just move packs. I would love to see Snapcaster and etc. reprinted in dual decks or in commander decks or in supplemental stuff. But in new sets, I tend to want to see new cards. I like some reprints, I like some throwbacks, and these are 10 of the throwbacks that I would love to see. But that's just kind of my disclaimer for why some special, close to everyone's hearts cards are not included in this list. And maybe will be in next week's list, the top 10 cards I don't want to see reprinted in Shadows over Innistrad. But definitely let me know what the top 10 cards, or let me know what some of the cards are that you would love to see reprinted in Shadows over Innistrad block in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at The Mana Leak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. And you can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Mana Leak. You've already found me here on YouTube. You've got the comment section down below. As I said, make use of that. I love interacting with you. I love seeing you interact with each other. Keep it civil, please. But yeah, make use of that. Love interacting with you guys. If you like my videos, click those little thumbs up icons. Subscribe to my channel. That'll keep you posted on all the latest Crack-a-Pack Tuesday, Wacky Wednesdays, Top 10 Thursdays, Spiky Saturdays, Sunday updates. That might be a thing. Maybe a new video series, we'll have to see. And all the other videos that pop up here and or there. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all next time.